நீங்க நல்லவரா கெட்டவரா?
We have readied a device to explode at our command in your city.
Servus Freunde, my name is Jimmy Cage.
And I'm Deniz the Buddymeister.
Our review of Vishwaroopam 2 is already online. Just click here or here, I don't really know. And I don't want to spoil it, but let's just say that it was really something we didn't expect after we've seen the first one, which was quite good.
Vishwaroopam came out in 2013. The action spy thriller was written and directed by Kamal Haasan, just like the second one, and it was shot in Hindi, Tamil and Telugu simultaneously. It stars Kamal Haasan, Rahul Bose, Jaideep Ahlawat, Poojar Kumar and Andrea Jeremiah. And there are quite a few American actors in this movie as well.
Most of the story takes place in New York, but there's a pretty long flashback in the middle of the movie that takes place in Afghanistan. When the movie starts, we don't really know what is going on, and it takes a little bit of time to get into everything. At the beginning, we get to know a jealous wife who doesn't trust her husband Vishwanathan and sets out an investigator to follow him. This, more or less by accident, triggers a series of violent events that reveal the husband's real identity and connection to a darker world.
Yes, and that darker world is the world of Al-Qaeda and terrorism. So this huge flashback that we mentioned tells us the backstory of Vishwanathan, whose real name is Wissam Ahmed Kashmiri, and who was a member of Al-Qaeda. Or was he? Can we go deeper into this part of the story?
Well, we already know who Visham really is. I mean, it's no secret anymore in part 2.
Well, okay, Wissam is an Indian spy who has been infiltrating Al-Qaeda for quite some time, and he has those special fighting skills. Jimmy, what did you think about the first Vishwaroopam, which by the way caused many pretty severe controversies? Maybe we should talk about that first.
Yes, there's not only a Wikipedia entry for the movie, but also one for all the different controversies. One, for example, was the naming of the film, because the Hindu Makal Kachi, which is a right-wing nationalist party in the state of Tamil Nadu, demanded that it should be changed from the Sanskrit title to a purely Tamil one.
Another controversy revolved around the intention of director Kamal Haasan to premiere the film on direct-to-home, or short DTH, which angered theater owners who feared for their ability to make any money with the film.
But the biggest controversy was probably the attempt of Muslim groups in Tamil Nadu to ban the film because they feared it would hurt Muslim sentiments.
Well, that's something totally unexpected. Anyway, let's talk about the movie. What did you think about it?
It was an ass-kicking good time. First, I was very positively surprised that they did indeed shoot the movie in the United States, and it has this very international feel to it. Of course, some things are bumpy and not all the effects are great, but overall it's a very expensive production, and that shows.
The film definitely has a Hollywood vibe going that even moves into Christopher Nolan The Dark Knight territory in the final act. But yeah, it looks really great and it is a damn entertaining, although strange and occasionally uncomfortable movie.
I know what you mean, but I love that the movie is this unsettling and brutal and also honest in its depiction of terror. And also that it's not just this one-sided story. Of course the terrorists are blinded by their stupid hate, but they also have families and are human beings in the end. I like the rather realistic approach, and I think this combination of larger-than-life badassery and at the same time dark and complex portrayal of war is something we only see in movies from India.
It is a perspective that you don't see that often, that's for sure. And certainly not in that kind of way, but I thought that this whole flashback sequence was a bit too long and off balance in comparison to the other genres that are served up. It is a masala movie, but the extremes of all those different genres are a bit too extreme, and so the mix wasn't perfect, but it's still intriguing and it kept me guessing all the way.
Yeah, me too. I didn't know much before, and so this big twist around the 40-minute mark completely got me. Up until that point I thought this was going to be more of a funny movie, and that Kamal Hassan's character Wisham maybe turns out to be this accidental hero who's really not up to the situation, but manages to kick ass anyhow. I was actually rather happy that this might be the first big action film from India that we saw with a character in the lead that appears to be gay.
Which he's not.
No, but at least he's not your typical Indian mainstream badass, but a rather complex and also tragic character.
Yeah, I'm not quite with you on that. For me, he was more like the typical cool guy who can handle everything. Sure, he has this background with Al-Qaeda, but I didn't buy into his sorrows that much. It was okay. I loved him as a deadly killing machine though. That sequence in the warehouse when his identity gets blown, it's fucking awesome. And we got to see it twice.
It is a great sequence and it is shot and edited very well. It's so good that they even used it again for the opening credits of the sequel. There are also other great and stylish edits in the film where the past and the present are cut together to shine a light on Visham's experience.
But maybe the movie lets the audience a bit too much in the dark about what's really going on, especially in the finale.
Yeah, it's quite tense and exciting, but I think so too. It might have helped a lot to make it even clearer what the hell the bad guys are up to and what the stakes are. This whole dirty bomb thing was rather vague.
It's all very sketchy and superficial. But hey, change of topics. We got some decent American actors in this movie.
Actually, they aren't as bad as we've become acquainted with. You're right about that, but that scene with the black FBI agent who's interrogating Asmita is cringe-worthy as hell.
Yeah, a little bit like Omar the villain.
He came across as unintentionally funny, didn't he? He looks like a combination of Mads Mikkelsen and Adam Sandler. It was a bit too much. Not only does he have a fake eye, but he also has open wounds inflicted by radiation and he's not able to normally walk anymore. And he's not able to really speak that well either.
He sounds like Vito Corleone and I laughed a few times, but it wasn't something that threw me off. The movie worked in its own strangely entertaining way and it took them only 5 years to make the sequel.
Yeah, that's something. The last minutes of the film made me really pumped for what's coming next. But I do think we should have gotten a stronger final punch in this one. You really think that's it? Come on, what's with the bad guy? What happened between Wisham and Omar? What ended the mission in Afghanistan? But when I saw it, I knew that I only had to wait 3 days until the second part was coming out. But now that we've seen that one as well, and we were quite disappointed overall, I wish they would have given us a better ending in the first film.
Well, at least we hear that awesome title song again in the end credits.
Yeah, you're right. That one is really pretty amazing.
So, in German we'd say?
Vishwaroopam ist ein wirklich brutaler, schonungsloser Terroristenthriller mit einem oft sehr starken Kamal Haasan in der Hauptrolle. Zudem ist er, bis auf ein paar Kleinigkeiten, wirklich gut produziert. I give Vishwaroopam 7 out of 10. It's more like 6.8, but I don't do that.
For me, it's also a 7 out of 10. It's more like 6.9, but I don't do that either.
So that's it for today. We hope we got you interested in checking out Vishwaroopam for yourself. And if you did so, what do you think about the movie and how did it compare to the second one?
And tell us, what is the best movie with Kamal Haasan?
Well, that's not an easy task. Haasan has over 200 acting credits.
Well, that's how this works.
You can hit me up on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram simply at TheJimmyCage.
And you can hit me up simply at The BUDDYMEISTER. And check out my podcast, BUDDYMEISTER SCORES, where I talk about the music of film, television and video games. It's available on iTunes, Stitcher and everywhere where fantastic podcasts can be found.
And as always, if you enjoyed this episode, please give us a thumbs up, share, subscribe, whatever you like. And make sure you hit that bell for all we have to tell.